and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa and today we are going to be making this beanie. So can you see that it's got all these beautiful patterns down the side? It has a really big rim and you can even put your homemade pom-pom on it or get one of those faux fur ones. Big, huge, chunky one. I didn't have any, so I made my own. You can use absolutely any yarn you like for this, but I do suggest that you use a thick gauge yarn, and that will go with a 7 to 6 millimeter hook. The reason why is because you want the wheat here, the wheat stitch, to really pop out. If you use a much thinner yarn, you're going to have to make these stitches bigger. We'll get into that in the video. So this is a beautiful wheat stitch pattern that you work long ways. So we're not going to go around, we work lengthways. It is super thick and very snuggly. You can make this using any yarn. So I used a lightweight acrylic yarn with a mohair thin yarn for that one. And for this one, which is more of a men's one, but you know, women can wear it too, I used a thicker acrylic with that, with a mohair, and it was a thicker mohair yarn for this. And we work down this way all the way around, and you can see the seam there where I sewed it up, but it's blended in quite well. It's actually quite difficult to see. Very long rim we've got there to fold it right up and make it nice and thick and super snuggly. Now that stitch might look like it's a difficult stitch to do, but it really isn't, and it works up reasonably quickly. So let's stop talking about it and let's get into the tutorial.
But first, if you enjoy my content and want to support my channel, you can buy me a coffee at the link in the description below. Thank you so much for your support, it means the world to me.
Okay, so what are the materials that we're going to do for this beanie? As I've mentioned before, you can use any yarn you like for this, but I do suggest you use yarns that will make up to around about a 6.5 millimeter hook. The yarns that I will be using today, we're going to do something bright. So this is Lauren Basics, and it's a 100% acrylic yarn that I got from Hobium. It's 300 meter ball. You will need 2 balls of this. And it does say it needs a 4 millimeter hook, but we're going to be blending this with another yarn to make this up to a 7 millimeter hook. And the other yarn that we will be using is this yarn here. So blending these two together, it's going to look bright and funky. So this is an angora or mohair yarn. Also, I got this from Hobium. It's a yarn art yarn. This is a 500 meter ball of yarn, and you only need 1 ball of this. This color is 844. This one says it requires a 3 millimeter hook, but as I said, we are blending these two together, and this will require a 7 millimeter hook. Now, as I said before, use any mohair, any fluffy type of yarn with this, and it will make that really nice, soft textured beanie. But as I said, you can use anything that you like. So the hooks I will be using are my 7 millimeter hook. This is for the body of the yarn, body of the beanie. And for the rim, the ribbing around the bottom of the beanie, I will be using my 6mm hook. These hooks I do get from Furls. They are based in the US. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but Furls, if you would like to sponsor me, I'm all there for you. They are just super comfortable and I can go for hours using these. You will also need your scissors, a yarn needle. You may need a stitch marker. And if you're going to make your own pom-pom, have a pom-pom maker. Okay, so let's get this project started. Once you have found your two ends and you've got them lined up together, then get your 7mm hook and do a slip knot or start your yarn however you want to start your yarn. And I will be chaining 20. Now I know this is the length that I require for my head. So what you need to do is do a chain, go from the middle of your head down to the top of your ear, and that is the length you will require. So for me it is 20. So chain 20 stitches. Once you have your 20 stitches, chain another one. This is your turning chain. Skip that chain you just did and turn to the back. So the back is where we have these bumps, these loops here. The front is where the V is. So we need to turn this over and we're going to be working our stitches into the back. Now the reason why we do this is because it leaves this nice edge here, and also when we're sewing it up later it will look nice. However, if you're finding it difficult to work in that back loop there, then just work into the V's at the front. Okay, but I always work in the back, so turning it over and we're going to go into that lump there. Now we're going to be doing a single crochet. So going into that loop there with your hook, grab your yarn and pull it through, then grab your yarn and pull through the two loops on the hook. Go into the next one. We're going into that loop there. Now make sure you've got both of your yarns there. You can see them both there. Grab your yarn and pull it through. Grab your yarn and pull through the two loops on the hook. Go into your next stitch. So into the loop there, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the two loops on the hook. And repeat this all the way down till you come to the end. Coming up to my last stitch. Then we chain one, turn our work, and this is where we start doing the wheat stitch. So to start and end, we're always going to do a single crochet. So the first stitch, single crochet. Now we're missing a stitch and we're going into the next stitch and we're doing a single crochet. Then we are coming back to this stitch that we missed and we're going yarn over, straight into that stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through. Then that's one. Yarn over, go back into that stitch again, grab a yarn and pull it through. That's two. Then yarn over, back into that stitch again, grab a yarn and pull it through. That is three. Then grab your yarn and pull through all the loops but the last one on your hook. Then grab your yarn and pull through the last two loops on the hook, and that makes your bumpy wheat. You miss the next stitch, a single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to do the next wheat. So yarn over, go into that stitch we skipped, grab a yarn, pull it through.
yarn over, into the next stitch, into the same stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through, and then yarn over for the third time, into that stitch again, grab a yarn, pull it through. Now I do recommend leave it loose, don't do tight. If you are a tight crocheter, pull it up a little bit to get it loose. Otherwise it's impossible to get this last one in, which is yarn over and go through all the loops on your hook. Okay. They've got 2 loops, all the loops but the last one. Oh goodness me. And then you should have 2 loops left, yarn over and through those 2 loops. Now if you have done puff stitch before, and I've got videos where I've got puff stitch or bubble stitch, it's literally just a modified puff stitch, and this makes it slant to do that wheat look. Okay, let's go through that one more time. So missing that next stitch, going into this stitch, and you're doing a single crochet. Then we're going back to that missed stitch there, and then we're going yarn over into that missed stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through, yarn over again into the same stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through, and then yarn over for a third time into that stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through, and then grab a yarn and pull through all the loops but the last one on the hook, and then grab a yarn and pull through those last 2 loops. And there you go, you can see the bumps happening there. Now this is where I was saying that if you use a thinner yarn, you will need to do probably more times into that stitch. So we're doing 3. You might need to do up to 5, 6 times to make that very bulky, because you want that lumpy effect to get that wheat look. You don't want it to disappear in the rest of your garment. Okay, so keep going along. So when you finish this, if you're doing the same as me, 20 stitches, you should end up with 10 wheats. So just keep working that. So you're doing your single crochet and then your wheat stitch in that missed stitch. 1, 2, 3, through them all but the last one, and then the last one. I'll leave you to finish that and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Up to my 9th and last wheat stitch on this row. I think I said 10 stitches earlier that you'll do. No, it's 9 wheat stitches. Sorry about that. So we're doing our single crochet and then 1, 2, 3, and then you should have 1 stitch remaining, and that last stitch is a single crochet. Chain 1, turn your work, and your first stitch is going to be a single crochet. The next row is another wheat stitch row. So this time we are going to do exactly the same as last, but now you're doing it on top of the previous wheats. So we're missing that stitch there, going to the next stitch, that's a single crochet, and then you'll do your wheat stitch on top of the previous wheat stitch. So do that same as normal, 1, 2, 3. Bring it through all the loops. Now, it is to be expected, and it happens to me so much, and it probably will happen to you, is that you're going to have to redo wheat stitches multiple times. Sometimes you can get them straight away, other times it just takes a few goes, but you will get there. So 1, 2, 3, through there. So keep doing that, single crochet on the single crochet, wheat stitch on the wheat stitch. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And keep doing that all the way along, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Okay, and end of this second row of wheat stitch, and so we're doing our last wheat. 1,
2, 3. There we go. And the last stitch is a single crochet. Then we chain 1, we turn our work. Alright, so this next row is just single crochet. So single crochet all the way along. You should be single crocheting 20 stitches. So just put a single crochet on top of each previous stitch. Coming to the end, single crochet, so chain 1, turn your work. And then this next row, which is actually row number 5, so you got single crochet row, 2 wheat stitch rows, single crochet, and this 5th row is also a single crochet. So single crochet all the way along your 20 stitches. Coming to the end of the row, single crochet, chain 1, turn your work, and now we're back on to the wheat stitch. So remember, the first stitch is always a single crochet, skip that stitch, next stitch single crochet, and then you start your wheat stitch back, going back on yourself onto that missed stitch. 1, 2, 3, through, miss that stitch, next stitch, single crochet, then wheat stitch in that missed stitch. 1, 2, 3, through. Okay, so that is the repeat pattern from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're repeating this section all the way around, and I repeat that around about 12 times. Now the way you would do it is work it around. That's how it's sitting on the head. So you wrap this around the head, and when it is sitting comfortably around your head, stop. So for me it was 12. And each different yarn will have, so if you're doing different styles of yarn, do measure it because not all yarns are the same. So I'm going to leave you to do that repeat pattern there. So single crochet row, 2 wheat stitch rows, single crochet. That's the repeat. So single crochet, 2 wheats, single crochet. Another single crochet, 2 wheats, single crochet. So on and so forth. I'm going to leave you to do that. Me, it's going to be 12 times. And when I have finished that, I will meet you back here and show you what we do next. Okay, so I've done my 12 row wheats, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I've got one more row to do, so that's my wheat row there, and only one more row, which is my single crochet. So finish your beanie, however many rows of wheats you do. Finish your last row with 1 row of single crochet. Don't do 2, just 1 row of single crochet after your last row of wheat. Okay, so I've done that 1 row of single crochet there, and now we're going to move on to do the ribbed edging. And what you need to do now is change your hook to your 6mm hook. And we are going to be doing the ribbing along the bottom here. So how we're going to do that is you need to chain 20. There is my chain of 20, and as you can see it's quite long because this is going to make a really big, where is it? So see the really big lip or edge or rim or whatever you want to call it. Now if you don't want it to be that big, just do less in your chain. If you don't want to turn over, then just do half that amount or less. If you want a smaller turnover, just do less than that. Okay, so I've got my chain of 20. I'm going to chain 1 more as my turning chain. And then what we are going to do is our ribbing. Ribbings are single crochet into the front of the chain. So what we need to do is miss that turning chain there, that last chain we just did, go into the next stitch, straight into that V.
So you can see the V there, we're just going straight into it. Grab a yarn, pull it through, then grab a yarn and pull through the 2 loops on the hook. So we're doing single crochets all the way down this chain. So there's my 20. Now I do recommend that you count every single row. It is so easy to lose a stitch somewhere when you're doing this. Okay, so now what we're doing is continuing along the bottom of our beanie here. So how do we join it? Okay, so this was where we went straight on from our last row of our beanie. So we are going to go straight into this stitch here, and we're doing a slip stitch. So go straight in, grab a yarn, pull it through, and then pull it through the loop on the hook. Then find the next stitch. There's one there, so let's go into there, slip your hook in, grab your yarn, pull it through, and then pull through the loop on the hook. So you've done that twice. Then you're going to count back those 2, 1, 2, and the third one will be the start of your ribbing. Go into that stitch there, and then you're doing your single crochets as normal all the way down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 18, 19, 20. Then chain 1, turn your work, and doing the same. When you're doing your stitches, you're going into the stitch there. Okay, into the V. Throughout this whole ribbing, you're going into the V. And you go towards the back. So into the V, towards the back. So you're stabbing it that way. Okay, last couple of stitches of this row. 19, 20. Let's check I've got 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Excellent. And then we go into the next stitch. So the next stitch looks like it's there. Doing your slip stitch. So that's 1. And then the next stitch looks like it's there. There's 2. Go back 2, 1, 2, into the third one. So straight in. There we go. And then keep doing your single crochets. Remember, you're going towards the back. Into your V towards the back. And always remember to pick up both yarn. There we go. Go to the end of the row. Remember, keep counting. 19, 20. Remember, at the end of the ribbing, at the end, always chain 1, turn your work, miss that chain, and start again straight into the ribbing. Always stabbing towards the back. 19, 20. There we go. Now we're back at the beanie, and now we're looking for our 2 stitches. Now if you get lost where a stitch might be what you've just done, just put this up straight and you'll see that it's gone into here. So my next stitch is going to be about here. You can see a gap there, so slip stitch there, and a gap there, slip stitch there. Now you are not aiming to get into every single row. Just look for the next hole and go into there. What we're doing here is the smaller hook will bring this in tighter, and that's what you want. You want a tighter beanie around your forehead so it stays on, and also you will naturally just get into the next hole, and that's going to bring it in slightly, because generally what I'm finding is that I'm getting into the top of the wheat stitch here, but I don't really get too involved into every row here. Okay, so just go to the nearest hole that you can see and then just start your row there, and it does work out to be quite good, quite even. Just make sure that it looks even and it looks neat as you're doing it like that. Okay, I'm going to leave you to keep doing that. So just remember, once you slip stitch those two, you count back 2 into the third is the start of your row, put your hook in, and then keep going with your single crochets. Keep doing that all the way along, and I will meet you back here when you've got your rib all the way to the end over here. Okay, so now you can see I've done most of the bottom, and there is one thing I need to show you before we finish off. So I'm on my second last row. Now what I mean by that is I need to go back down, and my last row is going to be at the end here, because I'm going to go down and I'm going to show you what I do here to create my last row, because I want to finish up here. Now I'm not going to finish up here just now because I've got enough room to do one more row here. So I'm going to work my way down here. I'll meet you down here and show you what to do to just do one more row. Okay, so I'm down the bottom now, and I only need to do one more row, as I was saying, because I want to finish up here, but I want it to go on the edge here. So from the edge here and all the way up and finish up here. So instead of doing 2 slip stitches, I'm only going to do 1. So I'm going to go into the very edge here, and I'm going to do 1 slip stitch. Then I just count back the 1, so I count that slip stitch there, and I go into this stitch here, and then I do my normal ribbing, and then it will mean that I have finished my ribbing up the top where I need it to go. Okay, last couple of stitches left on my ribbing, and then that is the ribbing done. Now what we need to do is to sew these together, so this side with the other side, to make the edge of the beanie together. And this is why we needed to finish up the end here, so we can sew all the way to the end here, because if we finished there we'd be stuck. We wouldn't be how do we sew? So this is why we finish down here. Now what we need to do is to slip stitch the edge all along here, so we can get the yarn back up here, and then what we do is we can cinch in the top, and that's our beanie mostly done until we do the pom-pom. So let's get this sewn up. Okay, so staying with our 6mm hook, what you want to do is go into the very top of your beanie, and it can be a little tricky, but once you get in there we go, and then pull the yarn. So you got your hook there with the 2 on the yarn over, and pull your yarn just straight through. Okay, and then go to the outside of that side, so outside of the stitch there, and on the other side just cinch the edge of the stitch there on the other side. Then yarn over and pull through. Then same thing, Remember, it's the outside of the stitch. Put your hook in, and then you can see, go to the next stitch down and put your hook in, and grab a yarn and pull through all the loops on the hook. Okay, so you're going outside stitch, there we go, we're going into it like that, and then into the other side, grab the stitch and then yarn over and just pull it through all the loops on the hook, and keep working your way down. Do take your time, you want it nice and neat because it can still be visible, but you want to make it look good, so like it's just like the rest of the beanie. Okay, I'm going to leave you to finish that there. I'll meet you when we get here, which is at the end of the ribbing, just to run through the rest of it, just to show you that bit there. Okay, so when we get to changing over from the ribbing to the beanie head, we're going to work it slightly different. Now, this is where it gets complicated. You've got to see this as I'm working that for the outside of the head and this for the inside. So I want the outside of the head, which will be this side, to look more like this. And then I want and when you sew it up, it will end up looking more like that on the inside. It's so technical, but anyway, trust me when I say this. Alright, so what you now need to do is when you get to that junction, go from the inside of the stitch. So you're going the inside edge. So inside. So there's the V. Oh, this is hard to show you. There's the V there, the V there, the V there. You're picking up this side of the V. So on the other side, there's the V, there's the V, there's the V. You're picking up this side of the V. And this will then stick this bit up and will lay the inside flat. I do hope that that makes sense. Now I've got to remember I'm picking up both yarns. Alright, so then you're slip stitching together. So you see we're picking up it gets easier when you move away from that join there. So there's the inside of the V, there's the inside of the other side, and then slip stitch together. So there we go, inside, the inside, slip stitch. Alright, so I'm going to leave you to finish doing that, and I will meet you back here when you have joined that all the way up to here. Okay, when you get to the end, leave enough yarn so it goes up and down the top of your beanie twice. That will be more than enough. Snip it off and then pull that through. Get your yarn needle and weave your yarn needle in and out the top all the way around the top of your beanie, just in and out randomly. It doesn't have to be pretty because it won't be seen. And back at the beginning, and then pull gently Smoosh it along. Don't pull too hard, you don't want to break the yarn, trust me. And when you've got it closed, what I do is I just weave the yarn backwards and forwards just to securely get that hole lovely and closed. Do this as many times as you feel comfortable that it's closed, and obviously make sure you're not sewing the rest of the beanie together and just the hole. Now leave the tail, because that's what we're going to sew the pom-pom on with. You can sew in the tail if you want to, if you're not going to have a pom-pom, but if you are, keep it, because then you can sew the pom-pom on. Once you've done that, turn it inside out, and you can see why we've sewn it the way we have. If I can find where the sewing went. It's good when you can't, because then you know you've done a good job. I think it's there. Yeah. So that's why we sewed it the way we did, so that you've got that nice edge there, and it's really hard to tell where you've sewn. And also, the reason why we've sewn this the way we did, because when you turn it up, it's a nicer, it looks like one of the ribs of the rib stitch. So this could be the finished product if you didn't want a pom-pom. But if you do want a pom-pom, stick here. I'm going to show you how to make a pom-pom. Okie dokie, are you ready to make your pom-pom? Now, you don't have to make your pom-pom. You can go and buy yourself a pom-pom. I would recommend the largest pom-pom you can get. It's a chunky beanie. Let's do a chunky pom-pom. Obviously, you don't have to have a pom-pom at all. I would recommend one of those faux fur big chunky pom-poms. Would look absolutely beautiful on these. I just don't have any at the moment. So I'm going to make one using my pom-pom maker. This is just one that I bought at a local yarn store. You can do it out of cardboard the traditional way, however you would like to do it. But if you want to use one of these, make sure it is facing this way. And you've got a little slit here and a little slit here. And grab your yarn and put it across this slit here, like so, and put it in there. Then bring it around the back and towards the front, like so. Then you will go through the slit on the back, like so. Bring it around the back and through the front. Now you want this, as you can see, it's going like an 8. So go front to back to front to back. I hope that makes sense. Then you can use the ridges if you like. This is where we start putting it around. Now I don't bother with the ridges. I just wrap it continuously around. So we just go around and around. Okay, I think that is enough. So you want to snip off your yarn at the top up here. Then you go to your tail and you snip either side, it doesn't matter, down here. Unhook there, unhook, oh, she's all wrapped up down here, and pull. We whichever side moves, it's that one. There you go. So that links to that. So tie that off. And do a double knot. And then face this towards you. And you see that slit there? That's what we will put our scissors in and snip away. Don't rush it, just be nice and gentle with it. And once you've cut that all, I just hold the bottom where I've tied the knot and give it a shake. And there we go, we have our pom-pom. Now I don't bother neatening it up or anything if I need to, you know, snip off the bottom. Like there, it looks like it needs a bit of a snip. I do that when I've sewn it on. So let's sew this on. So you want your beanie to be the right way around. That tail that you left on the inside, put your needle back onto it and then stick it through the center of your beanie, like so. Get your pom-pom where you had the ties there and stick your needle through the middle there and pull it down. Now put your needle back into the center of your beanie, like so, and then pull really tight. There we go. Now turn it inside out and try and sew it a few more times. So back up, try and go through the center and back down again. If you could do that a few more times, that'll keep your pom-pom really nice and secure. Now when you think you've got it secure enough, turn your beanie inside out and then just sew off the ends. Snip off the end. Turn it the right way. And let's have a look, see where I might need to snip. I think we need to go a bit of snipping there. Oh, a little bit there. But otherwise, pretty good. And there we have our finished beanie. And there we are. There's the finished product. What do you think? I love it, and it's a really lovely fit and it's really cozy. I think, even though I don't rock a beanie, by the way, I don't look good in beanies, but I love that. I think it looks great. So there we are. It's matching pom-pom. Very nice. And super snuggly. Alright, so thank
thank you for joining me on this tutorial, everyone. If you have enjoyed it, please, please, please give it a big old thumbs up. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. And yeah, you can even super thank me, buy me a coffee, or and just share, subscribe, like, comment. I have so many more tutorials, so please check them out. Otherwise, thank you for joining me on this one, and I will see you again in the next tutorial. Bye, everyone!